everybody. I'm Mike Arboyd, and I'm sitting here with Abdul. How's it going, man?
Good. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me to this podcast, and I'm glad to be here.
No problem, man. I'm glad to have you here. He actually has his own podcast that he's been
Yeah,
running out of here too.
it's called Real Talk with Abdul. You guys can follow me on Facebook, YouTube and IG, and I post everything there once a week.
Cool.
Yeah, so we don't have a genre. We just talk about whatever, whether it's sports, politics, spirituality, you name it.
Yeah. Open. It's like an open book almost.
It's an open book, yeah. It's open book. It's freestyle, similar to Joe Rogan, and yeah, we talk depending on the guests we bring, whether they're in the sports background or entrepreneurship. We just go from there.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we have going here too a little bit. It's I think that's the future of podcasting. Really, is just open, general conversation. I don't think people are talking to each other and listening to each other enough nowadays.
Yeah, that's right.
They're only listening to what they want to listen to.
Yeah.
So when you have these different kinds of guests, like when it's just a bunch of different, all different fields,
Yeah.
it keeps it interesting. It keeps
it interesting. I feel like if you keep it too niche and too narrow, I feel like you're gonna only have so much audience that will listen to your podcast, and you're pretty much like you have the other 80% that's not interested to that genre, and you want to branch it out. You want to speak about almost everything.
Yeah.
So that's why when I do my podcast, I always look at Joe Rogan. Every episode he brings somebody so unique to talk about.
And he's got people that everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody
and then he's
knows.
got people that nobody knows.
Yeah,
and it's perfect because it brings those people kind of to a level where they're known now. And they're always different, like all different kinds of fields.
That's funny you brought that up because I was talking to somebody a week ago. They was giving me pointers on suggestions on how to make my podcast more smoother and stuff. They were saying Joe Rogan brings people that I said that's not always that. I said go look at his last episode. The guest, I don't even know who the guest is. I'm sure a lot of the people don't know.
Yeah. That's actually I went to the gym earlier in the week, and I'm like, okay, I haven't listened to Joe Rogan for a few weeks, so I'm like, I might as well check out what he's got going. And I looked at the list in the past week and a half of people, and I didn't know who anybody was.
I don't know anybody. But people listen to it. He has 2-3 million views on every episode.
Yeah. Obviously, when he interviews the people that are really big stars, like the Kanye episode or like the Post Malone, Elon Musk, and those, they get huge hits. But every episode, no matter what, gets multi-million views, right? It's insane.
It goes back to how he approaches his podcast. Whether it's a well-known person or unknown person. He's in the middle. He talks about interesting subjects, topics, and people want to listen.
It's the interview style too. It's he genuinely is interested in what the person's saying.
Yeah.
Where people in podcasting and just in broadcasting have gone wrong for so many years is thinking of the next question instead of listening to the conversation you're having.
Yeah,
so it's always just thinking of what's next. The person's not listening when that podcast is over. The host has no idea what they even talked about that whole hour or whatever. So it's Joe Rogan. Literally, he has interest in every person that comes in. And he will tell you if he has no idea about the subject.
Yeah.
If he's like, I have, you could come off that shit crazy, or you can come off knowledgeable to him. But he will give everybody the benefit of a doubt and listen to them and basically try to make the best conversation between the two of them that he can have.
Yeah, that's right.
What else do you do? Obviously, you're also a small business owner, right?
I'm a small business owner. I opened a cleaning company almost a year ago. It was just before the pandemic started, and I guess it was perfect timing. I got into a good niche, which is cleaning. Everybody during the pandemic, most companies are looking for cleanings and sanitizations and all that stuff. So. Yeah, we're pretty busy right now. We're cleaning a bunch of retail stores, offices, and
And it's obviously that industry, they've always been into the cleanliness factor of everything. They want, that's their job. But has it become harder for that industry? When you were planning it out, has it become more supplies are
It
needed.
has been actually it has been harder, because more demand, and plus a lot of the business owners that we clean for, they become more pickier, you can say.
Yeah.
They want like more detailed cleaning as to before the pandemic. You just did your general cleaning and you're out of there.
Yeah.
But now it's like, every detail you have to clean, due to the COVID. But no, but it has been good though.
I bet it's been
Yeah.
pretty damn good because obviously people might have gone to cleaners maybe once a week, once a month, once every
Yeah.
couple weeks, whatever they are going. Now it's like almost
Yeah.
law. It's like it's instantaneously. If there's a mess, you have to clean it. If
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
people sitting places, you're supposed to be basically cleaning it instantly once they leave that spot. So I'm guessing you guys are probably seeing like customers that you're constantly having to go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like customers constantly calling us, doing a lot of bunch of inquiries, a lot of quotations. You know, they always checking the market, who has the better price and stuff. I started the company like as a one man person. It was like a one man show, and slowly I built the team around it as well. So right now, about I have about 5 people working with me. So it's been good. Like I can't complain. No, it's been good.
It's awesome. How did you get into that field?
To be honest, I was into entrepreneurship, and I always wanted to own my own company. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh, let me do cleaning, because my first job was a cleaning job. I was at a retail store cleaning, being the janitor guy. So I was like, I'm good at this. Why not open my own business, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I can work for myself, earn more money, more freedom of time, and all that good stuff. So here I am.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So that's something you took. You had the, like you said, you had the entrepreneurial mind.
Minds, yeah. I had the mindset, like I had a partner with me way back, but he was more hesitant because he had the fear of risk, the fear of losing money, the fear of not having a customer. I was like, if you think about the fear, all that fear so much, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, and honestly having that control over your destiny is.
Yeah,
I mean, this year has been one of those things that a lot of destinies can't be controlled.
yeah,
Kind of a lot of people have been screwed over, but the there's some people that just they are okay with that working for somebody and just clock. The nice thing about that, as being a business owner now, I'm missing that part of my life where I was
yeah,
working for people is that brain shut off.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can nine if you're a 9 to 5, 5 o'clock happens, you go home,
Go home,
done.
done.
Even if you had a bad day, you do whatever you got to do to get your mind off of it, but you forget about it. If you have a bad day as a business owner, that means you're not sleeping. You're
Yeah,
like it's pretty rough. So I understand from his point of view why he wouldn't want to do it. But at the same time, having that like control over your destiny, we're at a time that things are so up in the air with everything
yeah,
that if you're working for somebody, how protected are you?
yeah,
I don't. I think it's you never have that protection no matter what. But now more than ever, those big multi-million dollar companies shutting down that you think you're secured for the rest of your life
yeah,
working with them, and they're shutting down left and right now. Big companies. That's why I think a lot of people don't realize that COVID had a big effect on small business, like a dramatic effect. But I think it's those medium-sized businesses almost had it worse,
yeah, yeah,
and that's because they have staff galore
yeah,
that they either have to look like terrible for firing them
yeah,
or putting them along, laying them off, or they keep them on while they're not making as much money. And it doesn't matter how many millions you have, if you're paying thousands of staff, that's just going to start dwindling down and
yeah,
dwindling down. So that's what you're seeing now. It's just everybody like it's just scary times. Like you said, you got into a good industry right now.
yeah.
You're lucky. The
I
niche you
got
got
lucky. Yeah,
into.
the niche I got into, I got lucky. Also, like, yeah, that same person, like, that was supposed to get in with me, right? Beginning when I started the business, when the COVID happened, he got laid off from work. I was like, oh, well, how ironic, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And now
like
is he
he
still laid
was.
off from work?
I haven't spoken to him since then, but I'm assuming.
Yeah,
But who knows, right? Like, it's starting to pick up, and it's like the stock market, man. Almost, it's
yeah,
up and down.
yeah. It is, and it's every time a health authority opens their mouth, it just seems like it can affect
Yeah,
a business either like this or this. And you think about it, like some of the businesses that have succeeded during this time, like you're in the cleanliness industry, in the cleaning industry, those industries have boomed. Alcohol industry boomed. Cannabis industry, which was deemed, it was illegal 5 years ago, now essential. Like it's weird what was essential, but what was actually Amazon, whatever, they tripled their stock. I don't even know what it was. It was like the guy went, Bezos has, like, the amount of money he made this in 2020 was insane. And it's just certain things that worked with this climate just boomed, right? And in other places, I mean, food industry, you got to feel for, maybe not like fast food industry and stuff, because they were making as much money as maybe even
dining,
more. But dining,
especially when it comes to like local dining, like not the franchises, not your big Boston pizzas and all, Cactus Club, but those guys will make the money either way, if it's COVID or not COVID.
Yeah.
But like the small dining, like the local companies, those guys,
mom and pop shops,
big time affected,
that either dealt with if they did deliver, they only had their small delivery staff, or even sometimes owners delivering food, like, because mom and pop food shops don't usually have huge staff, right? But like it's super just sad, because what happened was with the food industry, everybody's signing on to like Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, all these apps to get their food up to the market. But those apps ream those places for all their money. Like, basically, you'll see, that's why you see dishes that are on menus that are $8 or something, let's say, and then it goes to Skip the Dishes, and all of a sudden it's $15. And it's because that restaurant can't lose money. Like, that's the thing. Like, those companies are taking anywhere from like 20-30% of what their dish costs and taking it for themselves.
Yeah. That happened to me twice. Like, I tried to order as a customer from Skip. I go, it's like, wow, $8, man. It's on sale. Go to the next checkout. I was like, wow, it's double the price.
Easily
canceled everything, man.
Yeah, it's not worth it. If you're ordering just for yourself, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, for sure. Like, I could pretty much buy another meal with that cost.
Yeah, and people are doing it though, and that's how we've learned to support small business. And that's the irony of it, is we think we're supporting small business with that by using Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, and all that. But like I've had a restaurant owner here, and it's just like it's not it's a great service to get their food out there. It's not great to them. Plus, if those Skip the Dishes drivers, how some of them can be absolutely brutal, leaving food where it's not supposed to go, not at the wrong houses. Well, it's not like those restaurants are, like, if there's complaints, they're probably, even though it's not their driver, are gonna have to suck up some costs, right? So yeah, it's just a crazy year.
It's funny because I actually did food delivering for like a while. It was like my side gig. I wanted to earn extra money. I was like, why not try doing Skip the Dishes? But yeah, like it's not an easy job as well. Like, you gotta deliver. It's like, especially when it's dark and stuff. You gotta deliver at homes that you don't know, the roads you don't know, and it's pretty random.
Yeah. It's one of the most unorganized ways of being a delivery driver, from what I understand.
A customer complains, and they're like, they actually complain to the restaurant, but it's usually like the driver's fault. Not that I made any mistakes, but when I do order as a customer, it's 80%. It's like the driver's fault. Either they stacked it too wrong, they're driving too fast, doing those crazy curves.
Yeah, or even just not knowing, or multiple deliveries at a time. I've seen that many times, where you'll see if you follow your tracker or whatever, and the person stops somewhere for a long period of time, and they go in a route that makes no sense, and then they've been out with your delivery for 40 minutes, and you just realize that they picked up like 5 orders from different restaurants, or just kind of doing their route the way they see fit. But yeah, it's just crazy, because that's what we have to do now.
And like local restaurants, like, when they do sign up with Skip, I feel like they're not getting anything back.
No.
I guess before pandemic, they would get their name out and get more exposure for the local restaurant, but right now it's not the way it is.
No, it's just random times. I really hope that stuff it's turning over to a new, let's say, a new beginning almost, because I think people are sick. Not saying like Like it's sensitive. You have to be really sensitive with your words nowadays.
Yeah.
But with everything like going on with the world and people feeling like they can't question things, but I feel like there's way more people questioning things behind the scenes and just restarting their lives this year no matter what.
Yeah.
They can't sit at home and do nothing anymore. Businesses can't just fail and just expect to succeed in these times where they're being told they can't do things the way they do things. We talk about restaurants. We talk about like even us, like we're community building. That's our thing. We want to build community, bring people in. So it's almost like we were unlucky and lucky at the same time to have it happen in our first like our year we were opening, because it's kind of nice getting hit with the hardest thing right away. Because I don't think many things are going to get harder than trying to keep companies afloat during a time they're telling people to stay home.
Because you can only sit at home for like so much period of time until you're like tired of it.
Well, yeah, and they tell us to stay home, and they'll keep you on the CERB or whatever, all those different things. But what happened was when the numbers started getting better again, and they started telling people to go back to work. They did. Some people did. Some people continued to work from home. But those people that went back to work, all of a sudden a month, 2 months later, are being told you should probably go work from home again. And I think they're like, man, this is ridiculous. How are we? Plus now they're not giving people as much. No. So like those companies were getting loans, they were getting help, now it's just like they're expected to function at 100%, but the world isn't 100%. No. So when you hear about like the landlords that like all these rules with rents and all this, like it's just like they had all these like things set into place, and then once they started getting better, they got lifted. They haven't been brought back. So how are these places supposed to succeed and pay fully when everything that we're given from the past, like all these loans and stuff, they're still having to pay that plus all their costs now. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, when your country's trillions of dollars in debt or whatever we're going to be after this, it's that whole reset that they keep talking about is like more realistic than non-realistic, if you ask me, which is scary. It's very scary because there's a lot of people that work for what they worked hard for what they had. And like I said, imagine like you're lucky, man. Cleaning industry is something.
Because while I was doing cleaning, I had a full-time job too. So actually, when the pandemic started, I was still working because I was working as an accountant, and I couldn't work from home because I had to be at the office. Just because I had to physically be there and do a lot of the managerial part of work.
Yeah.
So I had to be there, and I was on the side. I was running my own company, so it was like so difficult to like time management wasn't there, the scheduling and all that stuff. Like I was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was working throughout the whole pandemic.
Yeah. So yeah, it's difficult working other jobs when you're running a company. That's why it's that the whole jumping into deep water types that people always say, like with both feet you jump right into it, right?
You either focus on your business or you quit your full-time job.
Yeah.
It's like one of those two, but I couldn't do that because I can't just, especially during the pandemic, I can't just quit. I'm glad that I had a job, or else I would have been a CERB as well.
But it's scary, man. I know, like when we decided to jump into it like fully, this business is run by me, my wife, and my mother-in-law. And we all at once decided this is it, because really you can't run a business like this and not be there full time working somewhere else. It's because it's actual physical like space every day. But a lot of people that I know that always had like side hustles. That's why they were called side hustles, is because they had to work that 9 to 5. I know all about that. I took music production when I was younger. Tried to make money doing it. Really wasn't making me any money, and I'm like, yeah, I spent all this money for school and stuff, but I'm gonna have to go make money elsewhere and do this as fun for fun. And I think as I see both ways being pluses. Because I mean, if you're super stressed as a business owner all the time, might not be getting the best out of yourself. But yeah, it's so hard to not throw all your eggs in one basket when you are a business owner. And obviously, like now, you said you had to do the second job while you're doing your own company. but you must have at the same time just been like over, like.
Oh yeah, I was drained for sure. Like I still am actually,
Yeah.
but that's what keeps me going. You know, like the hustle, the hard work, the motivation in myself. Like I know where I can take the company and the podcast too.
Yeah.
And like as long as you believe in yourself, sky's the limit.
Yeah, and if you're having fun doing it too, man, like people, if you're having fun doing your podcast, people will see that while you're doing
Yeah,
it, and people, with these times, people like watching people. I think
yeah,
people like watching people getting along with each other and listening to each other. I think that's the problem with today's world is nobody's listening.
yeah,
Nobody can talk to each other without tearing each other's heads off.
yeah.
What happened to a good debate? That's where Joe Rogan and podcasters like him, I think, are so key to today's
That's right.
times,
Yeah,
where you can actually have a conversation as long as it's not full on hate.
yeah,
That's like what I mean. Like I will listen to anybody if it's not full on just
yeah.
ignorance.
Ignorance. Yeah,
Um, People have their ways of thinking and their ideologies for a reason, and you'll never know unless you listen to why. You'll never change somebody with shitty ideology either, unless you allow them to talk and for you to listen to their
yeah.
shitty ideologies
Right,
as fuck. That sounds stupid, but
yeah,
it's the truth. You have to listen to those people. A person that is completely wrong won't know they're completely wrong unless you don't treat them like that idiot.
yeah. That famous saying, like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. At
Yep.
all, man.
Yeah.
Like, keep it to yourself. Especially if it's all hatred and division. Just keep it to yourself. You don't want to like put it out there, create more hate. Hate creates more hate, and it just goes up a level every
Yeah.
time. Like what we're seeing right now in the world.
Yeah, and it's literally one extreme to the other
Yeah,
extreme, and it's hate, and it's not letting each other speak, and it's literally, I don't know if you've ever like heard about. There's this uh, he was a journalist in the States. He was a black journalist,
yeah,
and he was trying to basically he studied a lot of like white supremacy
okay,
because he wanted to get down to why there's white supremacists as a black man in like southern United States. Like,
yeah,
why do we have these? So he went and he basically got his assistant to call the head of the KKK in his area
yeah.
where he
I
lived.
think I've watched that. There was a
Yeah,
documentary about
yeah,
it,
there's
right?
a huge documentary on it
Yeah, you
because this
talked about
guy
it.
has literally he has changed like over I think it's over I don't my stats are terrible but I think I
Yeah,
remember over 30 men that were part of the KKK. This guy single-handedly has changed their ideologies and just listened to them why they grew up with this hatred.
mm-hmm.
Why? It's because their parents raised them to hate.
Yeah, yeah,
You can no matter what if your parents are like basically throwing shit into kids' minds and this is how everybody thinks. This is how the world is.
yeah, yeah,
That you got to feel this way. They won't know that it's wrong really until someone tells them it's wrong and both of them listen to each other. If it's he goes, "Oh, I was growing up this way," and he's racist, says something, and that person's like, "You're an idiot," and then it goes, "You're an
yeah,
idiot, you're
yeah,
an
yeah.
idiot," and then it just turns into hate, and
It
there's nothing
escalates
comes
more.
of it.
Yeah,
If you say, "No, this is why I'm racist," and they label it's like, "Well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense." This guy got 30 plus whatever it was people to leave the KKK, including the first one who was a headmaster. So a guy, and that headmaster ended up making a black journalist his godfather to his kid.
wow.
So this is all just listening to each other. That's why I think podcasting needs like an independent media is so crucial right now. Because if you took a far right person, took a far left person, but both of them are open to listening,
Yeah,
that podcast is gonna be unbelievable. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be one of the best things you ever happen. When you get far right talking to far right, far left talking to far left, who wants to hear that? My opinion, nobody really wants to hear that.
yeah,
But that's all we're getting.
yeah.
That's all we're freaking getting. And it's yeah, it's just
I,
interesting.
I also blame it like a lot of the mainstream media too. Like,
Yeah.
they all know who they are too, but like the way they portray like different sectors. If you're black, brown, whatever, it's always like negative, just feeding negative news.
Yeah.
To people's minds. Especially if you like depend on the news too much and you watch it too much. Eventually, your mind takes over. You're like, okay, whatever they're saying
is 100%
it's
true, and it's
100%
not.
true, but
And
it's not.
depends on the network you're watching too.
Yeah,
Like if with the things that happened down in the states, the whole thing the other day with
Capitol Hill.
yeah, the Capitol Hill, and then like if you I saw these memes online that were pretty like real but kind of childish at the same time. But it was comparing it to Black Lives Matter rallies,
Yeah,
and it was saying how the networks they posted articles basically like slide shots of the networks promoting what's happening.
yeah,
And while Black Lives Matter was happening, NBC was calling like the Black Lives Matter protesters.
yeah,
CNN, same thing, protesters. Fox, rioters.
rioters. Yeah,
When with this passing that happened on Capitol Hill, it was NBC was calling them rioters, CNN was calling them domestic terrorists, and Fox was calling them protesters. So when you're taking the audiences of each of those things, they all have different mindsets of what happened on the other day.
Yeah.
In reality, it was stupid. It's one of the craziest things that's ever happened in our lifetime. But they, depending on the people watching it, they are like, no, this is our right to do this. Yeah, I think all protests are right to do, but the way it was done is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
And but like I said, it's the media. The media horses backed by certain political parties that are gonna promote it the way they want to promote it, and
that's how the mainstream media makes their money too, right?
Yeah.
Positive news never makes money. Like if it's something good out there, they're not gonna show that.
Yeah.
Negative news and drama, people will watch it.
Yeah.
It's just intriguing to watch and like entertaining to watch for some people, and they make their money out of that.
Yeah, and they know they make their money off of that. So it's like what is real, what's created, what is done on purpose. I don't know, like I don't like getting into conspiracies too much, but just this past one the other day, it was just things happening in the open that when you talk to those people that are really watching the news on regular and daily, they're like, oh, that's your conspiracy mumbo jumbo. And it's like, no, it's right in front of your eyes, some of the stuff. It's not hidden from us. And that's why I find it so sad about it. If it was completely hidden from us and nobody knew, that's one thing. But when it's in plain sight and nobody is reacting to it, that is bad. Like with Trudeau last month, literally saying global reset over and over again about the economy, which they've been like different conspiracy theorists have been talking about this for years about how like a global reset is coming and all this stuff. And literally it comes out as mainstream media and he says it and nobody is scared by that. Nobody's scared of like literally he's siding with forum, the World Economic Forum or whatever, that literally they said in 10 years nobody will own anything but will be happy. Like you won't own anything, you won't have anything to your name, you rent everything, everything is basically everybody's equal. You know what that is? Like that in reality, you want to take it and define that. I'm not going to say it, but it's corrupt as shit. So it's when he's openly saying that, but the majority of mainstream media is owned by that side. We're not going to know that it's evil. It is evil as hell.
Yeah, it is.
And everybody's evil. That's why politics is just not working in North America as a whole right now, because there's no winner. There's no good person. I don't know if you've ever watched South Park.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
South Park. I watched
douchebag versus turd sandwich. Yeah. Remember that? Like they had an election in town, and it was and it's like whatever choice you make, it sucks. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And I think that's what we have right now, and it's sad. It's absolutely sad. They think that the United States is united. They need to take that word out of their name in their country.
They need to take out democracy too, because right now I don't see that.
How ironic! I was having this conversation earlier, actually, on a different podcast. How ironic is it that how many years has America gone into the Middle East, bombing, trying to bring democracy to different areas of the Middle East, and as soon as they go and do that, it looks like democracy's dying in their own country. And people don't realize, like, that's what's not talked about is in the last little while, warfare in the United States has gone down. Like there's less wars going on with the American army. It's like less bombings happened in Trump's era than anybody's. Nobody talks about that because Trump's an idiot. Everybody knows he's an idiot. He says the wrong things. But nobody talks about anything positive he's ever done. And I'm not saying he does much of it, but there is things that aren't promoted. So who is more evil? someone who is openly evil or someone who hides all their evil. And that's where I think politics have always hid their evil. Trump had no filter.
Yeah.
He had zero filter. He came out and said what he wanted to
Yeah.
say. He had no care what his people behind him saying, no, you can't say that.
Can't say that.
He said it. And as much as he sounded like an idiot, that's the first politician really to ever do that in the history of our politics. So who knows where it's going from now? If it's going to, now it's looking as like it's going into complete censorship.
I think it's for him. I think it was JFK probably that would speak his mind out.
Yeah, but he was liked. JFK
liked,
was liked.
Yeah, was liked. I feel like that's the other reason. Tried to put the truth out, but got assassinated.
Yeah, bit full on, and that's what everybody knows. Everybody, that's the thing. We all know this stuff. I think our generation, the younger generations, kind of just grew up knowing it, that it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
We know our politicians are corrupt. We know different things that have happened in the world that they've tried to cover up. We know all the questions. Like I'm not saying it's real. I'm not like the 9/11 conspiracies and everything. People have their conspiracies against that, but it's become mainstream conspiracy that if you talk to any random person, like it's an inside job, people either say no or yes, and it's just lived on. Nobody really cares. It's the same with like, I don't know if you pay attention to aliens or anything. Like this year, the New York Times came out with that article about the U.S. declassifying, like legit saying that they've been working on basically reverse technology on spacecraft. They have no idea how it came to be. They're like, we don't know if it's from space or we don't know if it's from another country with higher technologies. But they came out and said that, and it just went during COVID, just went swept under the rug when a mainstream publicity is saying this. Now you know, with all these like little publicities that have been saying it over the years, we're actually telling the truth. When a mainstream publicity comes out and says it, that's mess. How much has gone on, and for like, is that because like our generation kind of just accepts that and knows like, yeah, there's probably goddamn aliens. There's definitely, we can't be the only thing in this whole universe, right? So we just react to it like, yeah. And is that whole like placement, the product placement, that like movies getting us ready, TV shows getting us ready to be normalized to crazy things? Could be. I have no idea, but
yeah, there's always hidden messages in movies for sure. I think.
Yeah.
Or even like music videos, you see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hidden messages that the smart people will get into, but yeah.
Yeah, it's that, like I said, that middle ground of being a bat, like just crazy, and just giving yourself an open mind. And that's why I think people don't have an open mind enough, and people don't realize how much corruption there is within governments and within just high power people. And we know that from all the stuff that gets just completely just always just recycled under carpets. And it's sad when we're talking like when COVID happened and we're talking about like world rings of pedophilia and just like all these other things, and that got swept under the rug. All of a sudden we're talking about only COVID and killer hornets. And just like weird like things that like literally anytime something big would happen, it's like, okay, no, bring in a little story that will take the news for 2 days and then everybody forgets about the real shit going on.
That's the power of media. You know, one topic comes, people like talking about for a few days. Next thing you know, nobody's talking.
It happened when we all know.
But it's an ongoing situation.
Yeah. Well, it happened with Black Lives Matter. It was everywhere, and then all of a sudden disappeared. It really hasn't been talked about since really June, maybe. Probably and it was, everybody knows that is a fucking issue going on in the States. Even up here, it's an issue. The racism is real. Everybody knows that. What it turned into, that movement, was not what it was originally, and that's where I think the problems were when people are looting and people are destroying businesses, and doesn't matter who they are. They're just going out and destroying things. That's not what it was, especially when most of those people are white people in masks. Like, that's not what BLM stands for. That's what's sad, because that movement needed to happen. It is a real goddamn thing. Like, I know from a fact of being a white male, like, I've probably gotten away when I was younger with stuff that my friends of color, if they tried that stuff, they would have been screwed. I always use the story of going out on Halloween with my friends when I was a teenager with firecrackers and all that stuff like all teenagers do. I have a backpack full of firecrackers. My one black friend doesn't have anything on him. Who do the cops question? it's a real problem in this goddamn world. 100%. But when it turns into, you're not going to make a, a store owner happy if you destroy his building and destroy his store or destroy that and expect him to support the movement, even if he does support the movement from the beginning. Like that's the thing. And that's where I think it went to a problem down in the States. Everybody's like, yeah, we know this is an issue. We know this needs to change. But why are you destroying cars, destroying this that have no, like, this person that bought this car, you don't know what their ethnicity is. You don't know anything. So it's everybody has a right to be angry and protest, but when it turns into looting and rioting,
yeah, and that's what the media always picks up. They always show the looters, the people that are vandalizing, the properties and stuff. But that's not what BLM or any other protest that happened before that. It's not what it's all about.
No, it's not.
Just like here, when the 2011, when the Canucks lost the finals, the people that looted, we're not gonna sit there, Canucks fans.
No. Well, that was 100% media created.
It's all media created.
So the whole week upcoming, like the whole playoffs, basically, in the Stanley Cup Finals, what did the media play in Vancouver? Footage from the '94 Cup Finals where the rioting happened afterwards. Yeah. So they're showing all these rioting clips, like, hopefully this doesn't happen again. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. And all these teenagers and young 20-year-olds are like, that looks like a blast. Like, I'm going to go and loot and just destroy the city. And so, look, I honestly think it would have happened if we won or lost. It would have happened because they promoted it that way. They wanted it to happen, man. They, it's, you don't talk about it. You know what you do if you don't want it to happen? Don't mention it happened, because millennials don't go back and look at what happened in 1994. They don't. So it's completely, that was fabricated, in my opinion. They knew it was going to happen. I was downtown for that, watching the game at a restaurant, and it was insanity. It was insanity. I didn't partake in anything, and we went straight from the restaurant to our car. But like when we were going to our car, my friend's car that we parked in his parking lot, we get a call from another friend. It's like, the parking lot next to the one we parked in, someone lit a car on fire. Like, the car's on fire. We're like, oh man, what if it's our truck? Like, it wasn't, luckily. But yeah, it's insane. And that's all media pumped, right? So
that day when the Canucks lost finals, I was working, and all I was hearing on the social media was like, oh, people rioting and looting and stuff. That's all I saw. I was like, what's the score? I don't know the score. Even though I'm not a Canucks fan, but I was like, but yeah.
Yeah, I ran into some friends that were partaking. Like when I was running to my car, basically, or my buddy's car, saw some friends. Well, how's it going? It's like I look at one guy's not really partaking, the other guy's like on top of one of the bus things, like trying to jump through it. I'm like, an old friend of mine. I'm like, he was drunk and not thinking, because like as soon as that glass breaks, he's falling through. Yeah. So it's just stupid, right? But yeah, no, it's just I really think the problem with today's society is media corruption, and it's really nice when you see, it doesn't matter what your following is as a podcaster. Obviously you want that big following, but the more and more people that just have conversations, it's not like they're specialists on the subjects, but just conversations about issues, world problems. It needs to happen. More people need to listen to each other. We have a quote on the wall here. It's just like the Bob Marley quote. It's like, freedom of speech carries with it the freedom to listen. And I feel like that's just, we need that. We need to listen to each other.
Yeah, it's funny. On my way, I was listening to the whole Bob Marley album.
Yeah?
And I see that poster there. I was like, wow.
He was such a great mind. He was just, Bob Marley, too bad that he didn't live that long. Because, he was just, there's not many people that brought that much peace to the world, even though there was a lot of people that disagreed with his ideologies. And I mean, like, marijuana is a different thing now. Marijuana is so widely accepted now, right? It's an like a majority of people have smoked it in their life. It's just, but back when Bob Marley was around, for him to be the stoner, like the world's most famous stoner, and having a fan base that wasn't just stoner. That's like the thing that people don't realize is, like, a lot of stoner acts, there's a ton of them, but a lot of their fan bases that's what they are. They're stoners. Bob Marley has like people probably from the far right, far left, different ethnicities, everything. Everybody loves his music. It's feel good music, and I
peaceful too.
peaceful. Yeah, people don't realize how politically driven he was too. Like, Rastafarianism is not a clean religion. It's not like it's like a only peaceful pot smoking. Like, there's a lot of crazy crap to that stuff too. Like, just crazy rules and just there's so many restrictions, and we all know, like, religion, how much of a pull it has on people's hatred for one another, and it's just something that's another thing it started off as a beautiful thing. Religion started off as just a blanket, like a security blanket for people that like to know that, like, just have comfort with, like, life.
Yeah, have comfort and being in the straight path.
Yeah.
Not doing any wrongdoings. People took it out of proportion. They cherry picked some verses and all that stuff, and they turn into. And a lot of people blame religion for hatred and racism, but it was never like that.
It was never supposed to be that way. And I mean, there's wars going on in the Middle East between countries that have been going on for hundreds of years just because of religion, over sacred ground, right? We all know, like, how Israel is, like, they call it the Mecca, right? Like, that is where religion started for pretty much all religions, what they know. Yeah. So it's just, and everybody's fighting for that spot, but like the positivity that religion is supposed to bring has completely been washed out the window for a lot of people. That's why, like, in North America, religious numbers, like, for all religions, have just kind of, especially with modern, like young people that are teenagers to like 30s, 40s, religion, especially like Christianity in North America, has died significantly. United States has kept it pretty good with, like, their southern United States have a very, they call it the Bible Belt, right? But like when it comes to Canada, man, it's not like, if you take a white person in Canada, the religion has died. But multicultural, like, we're so multicultural that other religions have flourished. Yeah. But Christianity in this country has died, and it has a lot to do with the hateful way they're presented. You know why there's not many religious people in Western Canada? Because we're a liberal part of the world. Yeah. What did, for the longest time, did the right have to do? They were the religious people. They were the ones that were against all the, basically, human rights that were against religion. So, like, abortion and all that stuff, right? So we'll never, I think that's why it's died here so much, is that people are never going to really side with that hate part of religion. And there is a lot of positivities, like I said, of religion. It's just those negatives that really just ruin it for everybody. It's just insane. Yeah. So, yeah, we got a little off track with talking about business, so we might move this onto the Fountain of Truth podcast. I don't know if you watched that. I have another podcast that is, I still promote business, but when we start talking about other stuff, it kind of gets pushed to there. Because
it branches off, like you won't even notice it, but it's branching off.
It branches off. We've probably been talking for like, what, a half an hour, something like that. Yeah. So we probably wrap it up pretty soon. But I love talking to you. Great guest, and
thank you for having me.
No problem, man.
That was great. I watched a few episodes. It was promoting like small businesses locally, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's a plus for us and them. That's how I look at it.
Especially during like this time, the tough times. They need somebody to, like, show them support. That's a good thing.
Any promotion is good promotion right now. It puts, like, it basically promotes both of us. It helps. Everybody needs to help each other out, and that's why where I've seen, like, with the tension in the world today, small business owners and entrepreneurs have each other's backs right now. And there are so many people doing out of the pocket work right now that are not making anything but helping people out. Yeah. We went from wanting to do events here all year, like, that's what we're planning, big events, sell what we got to do, sell tickets, if we buy a liquor license, do booze, like, make money from it, to a point now all year it's just virtual free, everything free, but still trying to build that community up. And it's just like, you have to do it. It sucks. It really sucks having to go out of your own pocket, but at the same time, nothing feels better than helping each other out in these times, man. Like, I've met so many people that are hardworking individuals that you would never want to see not succeed. Yeah. And it never is their issue. Like, this year has never been the person.
yeah, once you help to down the road, you'll get rewarded for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's like business or spiritually, whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
You make those connections. You don't know who you helped out in the beginning if they had nothing.
Yeah.
And you helped them out, and even if you didn't fully, like, you weren't the reason they flourished, they remember.
Yeah, it doesn't cost a thing to help.
No.
Hold somebody's hand. Tell them, this is how you do it. Just helping, being around somebody who's down, be there for them. Support a lot of the local businesses. A lot of the musicians, athletes. Whatever industry they are.
Support.
Give them a lot of encouragement.
Yeah, because you never know who you're helping, man.
Yeah,
it could be the next big thing.
Don't put them down, and if you think, don't, but yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, man. Well, I thank you for coming, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Where can we find you? Like, I know you have your business as well as your podcast.
So the cleaning company is called Kohi Cleaning Services. That's my last name, actually. Kohi Cleaning Services. You can find me. I have a website, kohicleaningservices.com. You can check me out there. And for the podcast, yeah, it's called Real Talk with Abdul.
Okay.
You can find me on YouTube, all the social media.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll do the research, or I'll talk to you depending on how much time I have. Just send me all your information. We'll put it up on the screen for everybody, so they actually have like a visual, can find you easily on there.
Yeah, like I said, we talk about almost everything. Sports, politics, everything.
Nice, the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So that's good, man. I like that. I like more and more people.
Always keep it real. I'm never like biased. Always in the middle, just like Joe Rogan style.
Yeah. But you're not a Canucks fan.
Not a Canucks fan. I'm actually a Sabres fan.
You're a Sabres. Are you from out east?
No, I'm not. I moved in 2000. I lived because I'm originally from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And we moved to India like 8 years. Then after that, I came to Edmonton. Edmonton was too cold. I was like, screw that. So we came to Vancouver. Vancouver's not much better, but it's better than Edmonton.
Yeah, anything.
Weather-wise, I'm talking about. It's always raining here, but I can't complain there. Edmonton's like what, -20, -30 sometimes, and I'm a Sabres fan. Like I grew up watching Dominic Hasek, Daniel Briere, Chris Drury, those top players.
So it's been some rough years for you then.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen the playoffs for like almost 12 years now.
Yeah, the whole maybe what's his name? Hall will help you out this year. Is it Hall? Hall went there, right?
Yeah, Taylor Hall. Yeah, Jack Eichel, Eric Stahl actually came.
Yeah.
He can boost us up as a mentor, a leader as well.
Yeah, so that means you hate the Leafs.
Yeah, we hate the Leafs. We hate whoever's in our division, the Senators.
Nobody knows who they are. They don't have any haters because nobody knows their team.
I respect Montreal because they're a big franchise.
Yeah.
What they did for the hockey community and hockey itself, like you gotta give credit where it's due.
Yeah. I same with Toronto, right? Like my my wife's from Toronto, so she's a big Leafs fan. I'm the Canucks fan. It's just
no hate against the Leafs fans, but just that
you guys gotta play.
That's how sports work, right? If you're same division, you have the rivalry.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming in. Coming again sometime if you want to be on Fountain of Truth again. I'm going to start doing those more often, just general conversation like that this turned into. I'll still promote your business, but I think I'm going to make this Fountain of Truth. Yeah. And then, I thank you. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'm Mike Garboy.
Thank you.
He's Abdul Kohi.
Kohi, yeah, that's
right. Okay, there you go. Check him out, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.